Hello and thank you for joining me again. I'm Yizz the Eunuch, and I'm just going to ramble a while today about some of my favorite things in philosophy and how it applies today, I think, and how we should think about it. What I want to talk about today harkens back to the Greek philosophy of old all the way up to the modern era, and that is, of course, of pathos and logos. Of course, pathos meaning the emotional energy, impetus, reward that we reap from what is around us, and logos, of course, is where we get logic, the cold, the rational, what is outside of us and outside our pathos. And of course, the two will forever be intertwined and forever at odds, depending on who you talk to and who you believe. So, I'm trying out a new setup, by the way. I'm trying a new room for my studio, just trying some things out. So forgive me if the angles and the placement aren't what come out great in the wash, but I'm trying. So anyway, what I like about the pathos and logos framework is it doesn't really cast judgment on any particular group or person. It talks about what we as human beings, both an individual and a group, can get out of life, get meaning, get whatever energy you want to call it, the reason to go on. If you want to be spiritual or religious about it, the divine spark, the drive to spread the word of God, that kind of thing. And this is a fun way for me to talk about things because there's a lot wrong, not with government, not with schools, not with anything else about our modern era. I just mean in the heart of man, in the mind of humans. I think there's a lot wrong with today that we've sort of lost. And you don't have to turn the clock back very far, just one generation or two, to see what I'm talking about. The sort of postmodern problem that we have, science fiction writers have been writing about for a long time. It's sort of why you have so much cyberpunk fiction, so much post-apoc fiction, that kind of thing. But I think the way it applies most today is evident via social media, mass communications. We carry in the palm of our hands more communication and more possibilities to reap pathos and more possibilities to feel and to understand and intuit the logos than we ever have, before even 10 years ago. So what we're losing, I think, is an intimate connection to human beings. If you look at everything on the internet, whether it's right-wing reactionary stuff, as the mainstream media would call us, or if you look at individual groups, niche media that covers only things like role-playing games or retro board gaming, anything like that, mass media, social media, the internet has condensed human beings to templates, to group. And any of you who know me before this YouTube channel launched know that I always talk about how individuality and personal human connection is being lost anyway. And I think this is very evident in the modern era. I think the best way to put it is, if you know someone and they're part of a group, you know them personally, you go to school with them, let's say you work with them, the first thing that you think about them, whether good, bad, or neutral, is not their group identity along any line. Let's say her name is Sarah. I work with Sarah. Let's say she works in a different wing of the hospital than me, right? I was a nurse for a long time. And I know that Sarah plays some kind of game. Maybe she's into Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe she's into playing Shadowrun, something like that. And she also is part of Kiwanis. She has a child that's in Cub Scouts. And 10 other things. Let's say she's also a registered Democrat, for example. I know Sarah and I've worked with Sarah. So when I conjure what Sarah is in my mind, I don't conjure a Democrat. I don't conjure someone who is a Cub Scout mother. I don't conjure a boilerplate white Midwestern nurse when I think of Sarah. But because of the nature of what this is, what all of this is, we don't have that anymore. We don't really have the option to not think about that as our knee-jerk reaction to what we think about any individual, any person. And of course, that's always been part of human nature with tribalism and hierarchies and all that. But today, we are sort of just lambasted every day from every angle on social media, regular media, video games, journalism, to ascribe group and collective weight of pathos to people based upon their Venn diagrams, if you want to use the hateful I word, their intersectional, I don't like groupings for intersectional. Let's just think of a darker word. Their intersectional letters they have to wear on their jacket. How about that? But we're sort of forced to think about them in these terms, and I think that's causing us to miss out a lot on life, because I don't want to get to know someone who is a tall woman or a conservative man or a ethnic youth who is into a certain kind of gaming. I want to get to know individuals, and I feel like the barriers that are put in place by social media echo chamber effect, the way that profiles, clickbait, instant gratifications from clicking hearts and likes on things, I feel like now keep in mind I'm only 40, so I'm not that old, but in my older age now, I'm starting to see why I've always been told that people move more towards conservatism as they get older. And I think that in the modern era, it's easy for me to see, taking sort of a backed up view of what is, and getting to see what's beneath me, meaning in the past, what's in front of me, and what might lie in the future. And I think what I'm seeing is a real loss of what conservatives would care about. And I think that might be why, especially with Gen Z, I don't know if it's just a reactionary effect or not, but maybe they're picking up on it too. I don't know. But I think that there's going to be not just an older person movement towards general conservatism, but I think a human movement towards general conservatism, because we're seeing progressivism, which is the natural opposite and enemy of conservatism, with a lot of wind in its sails, and it's moving fast. And I don't necessarily just mean the regressive left and institutionalized leftism and all that. I just mean progressivism in general, technological progressivism, the progress of machines, technology, coding, mass communications. It's being driven forward, and you take the good with the bad. I think capitalism has a lot to do with that. And you all know I'm team capitalism, but you gotta put check marks in the right boxes whether you like it or not. And I think that this dramatic boost in the progress of humankind is creating an eddy behind it, where people who want a genuine human experience, people who want a, for lack of a better phrase, normal life, are feeling left out or left behind, or like they don't have any possibilities. And that's leading to a cognitive dissonance of pathos and logos, because the more logos that you garner, which is, again, in the palm of your hand as fast as you can absorb it, it shows you that you don't matter, that you're not connected, that you don't have hope, that you don't have options, especially because so much of what is fed to us is based on Po emotion, Yang emotion. It's based on the negative, to garner a reaction, to make us appalled, offended, scared, just so we'll keep clicking, just so we'll keep making the rich richer. And you take the good with the bad with capitalism, like I said. So I think that this eddy that many of us get stuck in is a sad one, because it's not that we are empty human beings that are bad and that we've given up on life. It's that we see so little reason for us to matter, so few avenues through which we can make any change. And that's really crushing, because humans didn't evolve that way. We evolved tribal, close-knit, handling with what we could see in our immediate area, handling with what we were given by our immediate tribe, parsing through what we were handed by our elders to read or to study. And I think that there's a lot of conflict with just our DNA, with our neurology, with how we are. So I think this is most evident in the conflict with left versus right today, because there are a lot of people who, we can use the red pill and the blue pill analogy here. We'll use blue pill, for the left, because that's fun. So the blue pill people, they love the matrix, they love progress, they're in it to win it. as many systems as you tear down and build new ones, that's good, regardless of the ramifications. Build new, tear down the old. Down with cis white males, down with patriarchy. Let's build an ugly brown mishmash future of God knows what. Let's just build it and make it and see what happens. Are you the status quo? Fuck you. Goodbye. You know, that kind of thing. And that's become so prevalent that you have a natural cultural backlash to that. And of course, conservatism and right-leaning people are going to naturally be inclined towards that. And where do we all meet? We meet in the digital battleground. That's where we all meet. And I think that's why we're seeing such a cultural divide. And that's why the people that want to profit off of that have started driving wedges between people based on groups, based on fears. And I largely think that it's the established left that is most responsible for that in the modern era. But the right's complicit too. You can turn back the clock all the way back to the 1970s in America. You know, you've got, outrage about abortion and evolution in schools and stuff. That sort of swept up to fill the void of whatever they used to hate before that, which is maybe black people. And you've got the modern era, of course. You've got leftism doing it. So I don't really think any one side or one political ideology is complicit. But I still think what I say holds water, because that's what I see happening, is this dissonance between what we can gather of logos while feeling a disconnect with an ability to extract pathos from it. And again, I'm older. I am not officially academically trained. Maybe this is philosophy 101 for a lot of people, but I don't read or hear people talking about this particular conflict. So maybe this is trite to some people that study philosophy. Maybe it's not, but I felt like talking about it. So again, like most of the things I bring up, don't really have an answer. Just things to make you think, things to make me think. So if you want to talk more about pathos and logos, comment down below. Let me know what you think about what I've said. Maybe some things I've missed about my quick comparison back and forth. Let me know what you think about the nature of holding all of the logos of man in your hand and it giving you the conflict I've talked about and how that could be part of the major issue of the conflict that we're seeing just with human communication today and with a nadir of human drive and impetus. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. Like always, I read comments and I might even choose to engage. So always share these videos. I'm pretty new to the whole YouTube game, so any shares would be appreciated. Put me out on Twitter, Gab, Facebook, whatever you want to do. And as always, I upload these on BitChute. So if you're a BitChute person, you can find me there under the same name, Yizz the Eunuch. And I suppose this weekend I'll be making another video. It might even be more about pathos and logos, because I've been really digging into this lately. Been reading what I can find online about old Greek people and what they had to say. So I hope this made you think. It certainly made me think, and I hope you have a wonderful week. So until next time, I hope you're well and God bless.